What's up, world? This is Lonzie Rattler here, the Creative Finance King, and I want to go take a look at some properties that we possibly want to do some creative financing on. These properties, what you want to do is you want to take a look at these homes. Some of them might be on the market, some of them they might be off market, but you want to take the initiative as take the wholesale hat off. You want to put on the creative finance hat and try to figure out how can you help homeowners sell their property for market value, but just on terms, right? So I want to go take a look at this home that had been recently renovated, but the property still is on the market. It's been on the market for some time now, and that's prime for creative deals, right? They still want to sell. They got to find other means to sell the property now at this point. And it's just not looking real good as for the seller side, because the buyers, like, we get to see how long that these properties have been on the market. And a lot of times, like, we want to look at properties been on the market for anywhere from 100 days and better, because you can have them fluid conversations with that list agent more easier. It's like, okay, but what's the reason that they still want X amount of dollars for this property and the property still haven't sold? So take a look at them. Have your agent start to send you over deals so you can start doing creative finance strategies on these properties. All right, hey guys, so we want to always look at the outside of the property when we're doing creative financing, because we want to make sure that our potential buyer or potential tenant does not have things that they want to call you back on, because I don't want to come back out and fix any plumbing or any issues wrong with the property as a tenant is standing inside. So I definitely want to just take a look at the outside of this property here, because when doing creative financing, whether you're doing a lease option, owner financing, or subject to, you always want to make sure that the property is definitely in tip-top condition, so you don't have to come back out or even call your contacts to come out to fix this property. And if so, then you don't want any major repairs that you have to do to a property. So let's take a look at this outside, okay? So now, as we evaluate the outside of this house, you can see that they have probably just one broken window here. They need some new screens on the window. The front door here look like it don't have a screen as well, and they got a little bit debris. But one thing I want to take a look at is how far this porch is settling, right? This porch has got a huge gap in the middle, so you definitely want to have your contractor, your cement contractor, come out and fill that gap, or even probably repair this porch, because at one point in time it looked like they had a wooden handrails coming down the porch. Look like it's now damaged. So as you can see at the bottom that they have new windows. That's always a plus when you're looking at property. Definitely. So when you're taking a look at the outside, look like it's in pretty decent shape. Look like they got new vinyl on the property. As long as the garage doors, they are operating, you do not need new garage doors. But it looked like this one here is kind of busted, so you definitely want to factor that into your costs. So I would just go ahead and replace both doors. Looked like it had a little bit of wear and tear on this property, and probably paint this outside. Definitely paint the outside of this garage here. And definitely looking at this backyard, this deck here, like, you probably can get rid of this deck at this point. It's an eyesore. I definitely would probably come in and put down pavers or something to suffice that, so you don't have to take a look at this deck, or maybe even just replace it with a brand new deck, because the boards look a little bit warped. But for the overall, decent property, screen repair there as well. But let's take a look at this inside of this home here. And this home is definitely on the market right now for $74,900. So we're going to see, is the repairs reflect that purchase price? So let's take a look. All right, guys, so now we are in the inside of the property. Let's take a look and see if there's any damages that will turn off your potential tenant or your potential buyer from this property as it reflects a 74.9. So let's go through this property and just definitely take a look at it. So as you can see, there's another board on that window, means that that window needs to be replaced. So, I mean, we're looking at $200-300 on that window and another window here. But the flooring looked like that they had placed flooring down, or at some point it was carpet, or they was tending to put carpet down, but they never really finished it. So they, just a few trim jobs here, but the property look like it's still in good shape. They was painting, but it seemed like that they probably ran out of funding, or some of the sort, or maybe a contractor stopped working. But you definitely want to take in consideration of how different it looks from this side over here, light colors, and then you go to where it's dark colors, which it plays off just the emotion. So they have chocolate cabinets and with a solid countertop, which looks very nice. And then they have the flooring to match. So whoever put this property together was definitely in the intent to finish this rehab. But of course, we can still come in on creative terms and still purchase the same property here. So just because a property is not quite finished during the rehab, like you can probably still get away with putting anywhere from about $5 to $10 grand into the property. We don't want to come in and do an overhaul. And what I mean by overhaul is coming in and renovating everything. We want to come in and we want to definitely put our touch to it and turn around and put our tenants inside this property, who's going to be purchasing from us later on. Now, definitely, they ran carpet throughout the whole upstairs. 6-panel doors. These rooms, they look very nice. So, of course, someone can move right into this property like without a hassle if you was to come in and finish the final touches, right? You definitely want to come in and just finish it out. Like stuff like this door definitely would have to be replaced or even wiped down, because you can see it had damages done to it. So you don't want to scare your tenant off, right? And then they got the rooftop. So this can be a selling point, long as people can come out and enjoy themselves. Here's the rooftop. So never feel that you can't come into a property and work out some deals with the seller and make sure that they agent get paid, so you can turn around and you can put a tenant inside of here who's going to be paying you X amount of dollars, and they will cash out the property within the next year and a half to maybe even 2 years. So you definitely want to keep that in mind when walking through property. Just don't go in as with the wholesaler mindset of you have to come in and try to get it under $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 under the purchase price to turn around and try to sell it to a flipper, even though that's one strategy. But you definitely want to utilize multiple strategies and put in multiple offers on the same property. So here's the basement. Now you can see that they did do some type of electrical work, so it looks like the electrical box might be updated downstairs, but they never finished the flooring, which can be a turnoff to buyers, traditional buyers. What I mean by that, these are the buyers who have realtors, right? So they pre-approved, they're ready to move in, and they might just don't want to see all of that. So that can be a good, a bad selling point for the seller. Now I can see here that everything, all the plumbing look like it's brand new in here. So we shouldn't have an issue, but the gas meter is taken as well. So you need to replace that. But it's just a regular basement, right? at some point, something was right here that they disconnected, cut the pipes. But this meter is definitely up to date. Like, this box is good. So this would definitely, so it'll definitely save you a cost from when you looking at this property, especially updating the box. I mean, you're looking at anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 to successfully go through and do a whole upgrade to a property when your electrical contractor's coming in. I don't know why this wall is here, but I would definitely, so something that had some mold at the bottom looked like they probably had a backup down here, as you can see. But I will definitely remove this wall if I was to purchase this property on creative terms. I'll definitely remove that wall. So the hot water tank sits here. The hot water tank have been removed as well as the furnace. And you can see here's the old body of the furnace, but the membrane and everything is gone. So definitely when you walking through property, don't be afraid to jot down things. Even if you don't even know the cost of it, take photos, take videos, give them to a contractor, right? And the contractor should produce you some type of estimate. It's only an estimate. It's not numbers that's set in stone. So it's only an estimate. So you can submit an offer whether you want to wholesale it or whether that you want to do creative terms on the same property. So you can have you a rough number of what it's going to cost you to go in, renovate the property, or even do creative terms on the same home. Because this home is probably about 70 to 75% there. You might need to just come in and just finish a few things to make this property rent ready. So guys, go through them. Don't always go through with one hat, wear multiple hats. What I mean by that, wholesaler hat, creative finance hat, lease options, subject to whatever feels comfortable, and crush them. Hey guys, so we just successfully walked through this property, just taking a look at it. And I'm gonna jot down just some highlighted things what I've seen through the property. It definitely will need some flooring here and there. It's definitely gonna need paint job. It's gonna need a few windows, a deck, a hot water tank. We talk about a furnace. But that's what I really was seeing throughout this property. So I don't believe that this property is not a bad deal. It's just you gotta make the numbers work. So if we take a look at just the inventory, like we probably looking at anywhere from about 7 to 11 grand just to bring this property back up, and they asking for 74.9 on the same home. So if we can come in and offer them something like $50,000 cash, $60,000 cash, and turn around and put the renovation money into this property and bring it up to rent standards, then your mortgage on this property that you will be getting from a private lender, maybe a few $100, right? Let's just say, for instance, the mortgage on here is $400, right? That you paying consistently to the private lender for 2 years, maybe even 3 years, right? You turn around and you lease the same property out to a potential buyer for $850, $900. Now you're creating you a $400 to $500 cash flow on the same property. Now remember that you got this property for $60,000. You put 11 grand into it, so now you're at 71. You are going to mark this property up to 99 or something. Okay, let's just say 90 grand on this property, right? Now you mark it up. Now that tenant buyer have to bring you 10% down. So that's 9 grand go directly into your pocket. Now they paying you an additional, let's just say, for instance, like I said, the mortgage is $400. They paying $800. Now you just create you a $400 cash flow for the next 2 years. So we technically looking at what, $4,800 a year of free cash flow. So now that's $4,800 that does not go towards the purchase price, go directly to you. And then in the interim, that buyer now, that tenant buyer, have to turn around and get approved for 80 grand on the same property. Now just remember that you all in is 71. There go another 9 grand that you just created, and you just created the $4,800 times 2 years. Now you're looking at what, $9,600. So there's $27,000 involved. What I mean by 27, because you had a mortgage payment of $400. You turn around, you rent the property off for $800. There's $400 cash flow for the next 2 years, which is $4,800 a year times 2, $9,600. That's free cash flow. And then on top of that, you got the property. So you all in with the purchase price and renovation of $61,000. You turn around, you lease this property out for $90,000. Somebody brought you 10%. They go 9 grand down. They got to get funding at $81,000. So there's another 10 grand. Now you already at 19.6. So of course, like, you can make you some substantial money when you involving yourself into real estate, and you can do this all without your money or without your cash. So if you need to get started, go ahead, DM me or send me an invite, and we can go ahead and we can get you started.